big-time play.
This guy checks all the boxes.
Hey, welcome to the wrap-up presented by ALLSTATE. I'm Skubie Mageza with three-time national champion AJ McCarron, and let's just celebrate your past victory because the victory of Alabama today was taken away thanks to Tennessee. I know it's been hurting you. You picked them last week to win this game, but I picked Tennessee to win this game because last week we made our pick'em because this week's games is the most impactful week for the college football playoff, and this is how our current rankings are going. I seem to get it right so far. Undefeated. AJ missed his first 2 ones, but we seem to agree on the rest of the games. Mississippi State is Kentucky is leading Mississippi State right now, 27-17 in the fourth, and USC is beating Utah in the third, 35-28. So we'll see. It's the final. So Kentucky did beat Mississippi State. USC is still beating Utah in the third. And we got plenty in the show to talk about. We'll have AJ's A-list. We'll talk about the teams that we should be getting rid of, or are we sleeping on them? It's going to be a great show, so stick around for that. But right now, it is time for our favorite part of the show. It is time for Saturday Shoutouts. And this is how we recap the college football day. And we're starting off with Best Arrival. In case you missed it earlier on SEC Nation, Paul Feinbaum made one hell of an entrance on the set. It's like the Undertaker coming out of the coffin, and he was telling everybody, y'all need to stop sleeping on them. And then we also have another shout out for nastiest first down, Blake Corum threw up right before taking a handoff for a first down. This man went off today, and Michigan rushed for 418 yards against a number 5 rushing defense in the country.
That's some nasty stuff right there.
Oh, yeah. And then we got strongest quarterback. This dude, KJ Jefferson, lifts 6'3", 243 pounds, using all that body frame. He finished with 367 yards and 5 touchdowns as Arkansas put up more than 50 points in his first game back from injury.
He's a big boy.
Oh, yeah, and we got biggest fake out. How about shout out to the kicker here, Central Michigan, setting up at the 1-yard line. You thought it was a kick? Psych.
Get in, though.
I think they called him in.
No, down at the 1.
Look, but that was a hell of a throwback by that holder. Well done there. Now we got best route, and as a former wide receiver, I love this one. Xavier Worthy putting on a clinic on how to mix the DB. We call that the snag route. Right at the goal line, you run you act like you're running a slant, but then you put on the brakes and you come back out. 8 catches, 72 yards, got him, and 2 touchdowns for him. And then we got best performance. Chase Brown of the Fighting Illini, like his name, is on a Heisman chase. He ran for 180 yards on 41 carries and reached 1,000 yards rushing in just 7 games, fastest to do so in school history. He's the nation's leading rusher on a 6-1 team in the Big Ten West, and they're both eligible for the first time since 2011. An incredible performance from Chase, and I think we really need to start looking at him as a Heisman candidate because he's doing what they should be doing, right?
He's definitely doing work. How sweet are those unis?
Oh, my God.
Dude, I love those Illinois unis.
Yeah.
The matte orange helmet.
I love the bright colors that match. You know, you get the bright colors and then like a nice solid color to go with it. That's what you call drip. But
So
an incredible performance. I mean, if you look good, you're going to play good and you'll feel good. But, hey, we got some other beautiful performances with our unbeatable performance brought to you today by Xfinity. And the defenses today were making some plays at the cost of quarterbacks. AJ Finley intercepted by Robbie Ashford with the dive and grab, AJ.
Can't do it. Can't do that on a screen.
Oh, man.
Can't throw it high.
Not at all. DBs looking like wide receivers. Give him that turnover chain. There it is. Looking good on the sideline, my boy. Second interception. Jackson Dart says, let's play some hot potato. And it ends up being Keontae Smith on the pick. Man, when that ball gets to hopping around like that, you never know what's going to happen on the play. Great job here by the Auburn defense, swarming to the ball. That's why you always swarm to the ball.
Well, that's one of your biggest fears as a quarterback. You see it's in your receiver's hands and then it bounces. The worst.
Interception of the year. Woo. That's CJ Colden using his big old hamburger helper glove to snag this interception out the air, one-handed grab. Now that's what you call acrobaticness, body control, everything, all on one play. Those are some incredible interceptions. Must have hurt for you to see quarterbacks getting picked off like that, but
not the Auburn one. I was happy with that one, but I'm just kidding. But hey, and speaking of uniforms again, Oklahoma. How sweet are those uniforms?
You've been showing a lot of loves to Drip today.
Dude.
But Oklahoma does have some dope, I can't say ass. I forgot, we're on a digital show, so I can't say that. They got some dope ass uniforms, okay?
Dude, those all grays are sweet.
That was unbeatable performances from today, brought to you by Xfinity. All right, and now time for the segment that's setting the nation in a blaze, because your quarterback might be on the C list, the B list, but he's definitely not on AJ's A list. So we're going to show you the top 3 quarterbacks of this week, all coming from my guy's A list, and he's going to break down some plays for us on the whiteboard. So, quick question, AJ, who do you have at number 3?
Scoob, big week this weekend. A lot of great quarterbacks, but at number 3, I got Max Duggan.
Mr. Dougie. All right, he went 23 of 40, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he relied heavy on Quentin Johnson. Targeted him 35 times on his attempts in the game. 8 catches, 180 yards to his favorite receiver. But Dougie, once again, has his team winning, undefeated. Great win for them. Break down the play for us.
And this play right here, in overtime, first possession, I think was one of the best plays and best touchdown passes of the weekend, for sure. Right here, they're in some type of 3-by-2, okay? Oklahoma State was playing basically a cover 3. Could have been a 3 match, and they just blew it, but it looked more like a cover 3. TCU right here went a skinny post over here. Some could consider it what we call a glance, 7th outside step. The halfback right here was on a rail route. Okay, we had a protection right here by another, some type of fullback or a smaller tight end. You had a big box fade alert over here by the tight end on this side to your right, and then a 5-yard under route by the Z. Where Oklahoma State messed up was they played cover 3 right here. Safety came down. He's supposed to get hands and disrupt this route, and then he's supposed to carry this if it's a 3 match. This corner does a bad job right here. Yeah. He gets depth but doesn't fold over. This Max Duggan does a great job of looking the safety off in the center and hitting the skinny post. Big time play for them in TCU.
And it seems like the play action pass is working. That's the beauty of the play action pass. You can kind of have that safety come up, but they were in cover 3. What is the best thing that they can do to stop a play like that from happening?
Yeah, like I said, this side over here, if there's a way to go back and look at the film, you basically as a quarterback treat the tight end as an alert versus man coverage. But they also blew it right here. They didn't carry him if they're playing 3 match or if they're playing just true cover 3. The corner didn't fold over on this side either. But to the touchdown side, if they're going to play cover 3, this guy's either got to carry the seam and the corner stays outside, or he has to fold over. The safety's also got to be there. Max Duggan did a really good job of playing with his eyes and hitting him, Quentin Johnson for a touchdown.
Another big game for Max Duggan. That team is definitely going to be climbing up the rankings. Watch out, maybe even a top 10 ranking come tomorrow. Now we're going to move on to the next person on AJ's A-list. And maybe this guy is from a school you're familiar with. Who is it on number 2?
Long night over here. I wanted him to be number 1, but at number 2 tonight is my boy Bryce Young.
Big game from him. 35 for 52, 455 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hey, listen, this is a great stat to show you how great Bryce Young is. There have been 4 450-yard passing games in Alabama history. Bryce Young has 2 of them, and the rest of the school in history has 2. But it all comes in a loss. However, the play that he made in this game that you're about to show us is one that you've ran in the past as well.
I've run this play a ton. All right, one of the biggest was my year in Buffalo, last preseason game versus cover 0. The same thing, same coverage that Tennessee played tonight on this play. We called it train right, Jill Toledo. We got the tight end coming over here. He's either staying on the move or he's sitting at the ghost tight end. Halfback's up in protection. This is an alert right here. If we like our one-on-one matchup, and then the backside is our last guy of our read. So in this coverage right here, we're going 1, 2, 3. Sometimes the back might leak out, and then we treat this as an alert over here. Bryce did an unbelievable job. It was cover 0. With a rat player is what we call it, by a linebacker, playing the eyes of Bryce. Bryce was able to extend the play in the pocket a little bit and then ended up hitting the tight end for a touchdown late as the rat player came up and tried to make a play on Bryce.
And that's what Bryce does really well, those off-script plays, being able to extend it a little bit. Seeing him step up in that pocket seems like that's what opened up the hole for the tight end to break open free. So in your experience running that play, is it something that you find more success with when you step up and move around, or was that just Bryce being Bryce?
That right there is Bryce being Bryce. He's, the reigning Heisman winner for a reason. Had a hell of a game tonight. Super proud of him. Came up a little bit short, but they'll be back in the hunt.
Yeah, and for some reason, even when Alabama loses games, they can still find a way to get in the playoffs. I remember one Alabama quarterback that might be on this show with me who lost a game and still won the national championship the same year, so it's not over for them. All right, now to top it all off, the number 1 guy on AJ's A-list has to be the guy that beat Bryce, right?
It is. As much as it hurts to say, Scoob. Hendon Hooker, unbelievable game tonight. I think he was 21 of 30. Just all around great game.
Yeah, completed 70% of his passes, 385 passing yards, 56 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns that all went to the same guy that is going to be highlighted right in this play. And one thing that worked really well for Tennessee, which you see working really well on this play, is their play action pass, the same way it did for Mr. Duggan. Break down the play for us right now, AJ.
Yeah, Bama went man coverage. What I like about this play is it's a power play action pass right here. They brought the tight end back across the formation, had the halfback coming across, did a little token fake. They had an alert fade over here. If Hendon likes his one-on-one matchup outside, take it. But where they got Alabama was by this play action pass right here, they had this free safety come up hard. They had the glance sitting right in the slot. Right there, you had a 5-yard under route. Hendon did a great job of making a play with his eyes, really selling the play action and coming out and freezing that safety. I mean, if you go back and watch the film, the safety pauses his feet. He doesn't know where the ball is at the time. Right up top right here, you see him pause his feet. That's all you need on that. You got off coverage in the slot right here. I mean, that's easy access. We used to call that a guaranteed completion. There's no way they can stop it. Unbelievable play by Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers. It was a big play for them, helped them get the win tonight.
Yeah, unbelievable game for them, as you just mentioned. Hendon Hooker on the play-action pass. He was 9 for 14, 230 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So they found a lot of success with that. And that's what happens when your offense is working all well together with over 180 yards rushing as well. But let's take a quick look at the 3 quarterbacks that we just saw highlighted on AJ's A list. Your quarterback might be on the C or the B list, but not everybody can make the A list. Now let's see why they stormed the field. And all eyes were on Bryce Young surrounding how he'll look after his injury. So in the second half, just give it to your back. Jahmyr Gibbs says, "Excuse me, sir, I have a date with the end zone." He makes reservations for how many, AJ?
6!
Yes, we're tied all at 28 after that. Then Tennessee's next possession, Hendon Hooker with a bomb to Jalen Hyatt. My God, he's wide open. What's going on?
That secondary was non-existent today.
60-yard bomb, 35-28. And then we're in a dogfight. Jahmyr Gibbs getting it done again. Alabama goes up 35-34. This game is going back and forth, and it's high scoring. But when in doubt, go to the people you trust. Hooker finding Hyatt again.
Jeez.
See ya. Y'all can't touch this man like MC Hammer. My God, up 42-35. Nobody there. The game is tied at 42 now at this point, and a miscue. The handoff fumbled. Alabama picks it up, scoop and score.
Go.
49-42. At this point, we're like,
back on top, baby.
They got this. Roll Tide.
Back on top.
Roll Tide. Sometimes you got to get lucky in football, and they got lucky here. But Tennessee will not go down without a fight. And on 4th and 5, they call pass interference.
Terrible call.
And it leads to this next play because, like I said, you got to get lucky sometimes. Tennessee with a new set of downs. Hooker finds his man, Hyatt, for his 5th touchdown of the game. And AJ highlighted this play on his A-list. What a throw. What a catch. Hyatt, 6 catches, 207 yards, 5 touchdowns. But then Reichert gets a chance to win the game for Bama, misses a field goal. Tennessee gets it with 9 seconds left. They advance 27 yards. Tennessee's Chase McGrath knuckleballs it into the goalpost. The Volunteers win it 49-52. They're 6-0. Huge win for them. Fans stormed the field. That's why we showed y'all the video. AJ, a lot of different miscues for Alabama here, but Jalen Hyatt, 6 catches, over 200 yards, 5 touchdowns, which is an SEC record. What was going on with the Alabama secondary?
I don't know if they realized he was playing. The guy was catching everything and scoring every time he caught the ball. Like, he had 5 touchdowns? He caught it 6 times. So he almost every time he caught the ball was a touchdown. Bama's secondary was bad tonight. Saban pointed it out. A lot of mistakes in the first half, and those kind of really just spilled over. Unlike a Saban-esque defense. And it really, no corrections were made from a player standpoint at halftime, and they got beat down tonight.
So we saw it first when Alabama went against Texas. We saw Xavier Worthy really torch them. And It seems like Alabama struggles with those speedy receivers. What did Jalen Hyatt bring to this game that basically made him unstoppable? 6 catches, 5 touchdowns. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you watch Tennessee, they're different on offense from a receiver standpoint than anybody else in the country. Heupel coaches their receivers to be extremely wide on the field. If you notice, they'll be in a 2-by-2 formation. Most of the time, you got one receiver outside of the numbers and then one inside in the slot. A lot of times, both of their receivers to the same side are lined up on the numbers to outside the numbers. Like, they spread the field out extremely, extremely wide. And it really kind of separates and makes the defense expand and puts you in situations and locations on the field that you're not used to playing a coverage from that location on the field. So it kind of plays tricks with the defense, and I think that alignment of the receivers tonight really caused Alabama secondary a lot of problems.
Yeah, and that's been one of the kryptonites or the chip in the armor with Alabama this year. Their secondary, because that pass rush is still there. You got Will Anderson. He's one of the best defensive players in the country, so he's going to do his thing. And when you talk about their defense, they allowed 52 points today. That is the most in any game since 1907, talking about Alabama, a program that's had a lot of success. But when you talk about the miscues, it was the penalties that stuck out the most. 17 penalties for Alabama in this game is the most that they've ever had in the Nick Saban era. The second most penalties that they've ever had was against Texas this year. So 2 of the 3 most penalized games in the Nick Saban era was here in 2022. What is going on with these penalties? Because that is unheard of with a Nick Saban.
It really is. That's why I said it's not a Coach Saban-esque team. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, it's something that when I was there, you never saw. Guys held themselves accountable for. Hey, our biggest thing was we don't beat ourselves. Okay, like if we don't beat ourselves, almost 100% of the time, we're going to win the game. So just don't do it. And like tonight, if they don't have that many penalties, they probably win the game.
130 yards worth of penalties.
Yeah, and it absolutely killed them. Like on offense, they had momentum. They killed them, they shot themselves in the foot, and they'd bring them right back. And they played behind the sticks. On defense, they had penalties all night. Even though I still think that pass interference at the end of the game was a bogus call. But they got to figure this thing out because it hurts them against really good teams. You know, if Quinn Ewers stays in the game again, and when they played Texas earlier in the year, like, how does that game turn out?
Exactly.
Because they were doing the same thing, with penalties that game too. So I don't know. It's something they will have to figure out fast and in a hurry. And there's nobody else that, like Coach Saban that can get that done.
Yeah,
so.
It seems like the Vols definitely watched that tape from the Texas game and used what was successful in this game. So now let's look at the upcoming schedule for Alabama. Coming up next, look at what they have. They got Mississippi State, and they got LSU, Ole Miss. I got an eye on that. They'll have that one on November 12th, And all those games will be really interesting, and we're going to be keeping an eye on them. Now, Tennessee, they got UT Martin. I don't think they're worried about that game.
Kentucky game could get interesting.
Yes, they got a tough back-to-back week schedule from the 29th to the 5th. That will be interesting. The Georgia one, man, they're really going to climb up in there. You got to put Tennessee in the top 4 after this. You get a quarterback like Hendon Hooker. What an incredible performance from him. And if it wasn't for their performance today, we wouldn't have had our mayhem moment, because for now it's time for our mayhem moment from today's action, brought to you by ALLSTATE. And we got to come back to this game. Will Riker misses a 50-yard field goal, which would have won the game for the Crimson Tide. I mean, kickers, just do your job. All you do is kick the ball and make it. The Vols respond in 3 plays, and Chase McGrath kicks the game-winning 40-yard field goal for the upset. And the beautiful part about this, let's get the victory cigars lit up, and let's carry the goalpost out of here. It was the first time since 1998 that Tennessee rushed the field, and the last time they did that was in a win over Florida, that Peyton Manning year. And when they defeated Florida in 1998, the fans carried the goalposts out of the stadium and all the way to the Tennessee River and threw it in there, and that's exactly where it ended up tonight. Same thing. Don't tell me these kids don't know history or appreciate history, because they knew exactly what to do. And you best believe the SEC will be fining Tennessee for this schools get fined for when they storm the field, and you definitely get fined when they
down the goalpost.
tear down the goalpost.
100%.
So that's our mayhem moment.
I'm sure they'll have no problem paying that fine right there, though.
Yeah,
after that win.
Don't quote me on this. Just newsroom chatter. There's supposed to be a donor that's willing to pay all this because why not? A win like this, let's celebrate. It's an easy check to write. And you got to appreciate it. Great win for Tennessee. I just love the madness in college football. But I said it earlier in the show, don't be surprised if Alabama somehow finds a way to still be in the college football playoff, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they just went out, they're fine. I mean, the only hiccup they could have is, losing in the SEC championship to either Georgia or Tennessee. Because if you have 2 losses now, it's really tough. Who's in the captain's seat is Tennessee. Because if you lose to Georgia, all right, that's fine. You only have 1 loss. And then you don't have to play in the SEC championship. So if Alabama beats Georgia, I think Tennessee could be one of those 4 teams that are still left over in the end. Because is your only loss to the number 1 team in the country? And how do you penalize them for that?
I love it. This is why we love college football, because all these crazy scenarios just start to wind up in your head. Some teams are doing better than others. But one thing for sure on this show is, if you've been watching us, AJ doesn't like certain teams like Iowa or Auburn, and he always has this term, his catchphrase he uses called, turn it into a parking lot, which is now bringing us to our new segment called Dozin or bulldozing, meaning which teams are we sleeping on and which teams need their stadiums to be turned into parking lots. So, starting with Texas, are we dozing on the Longhorns or are we bulldozing their stadium?
I'm all for Texas. I love Sark. I think he's a hell of a coach. Quinn Ewers, I've said it multiple times on here and told you we've had plenty of talks about it. I think they're a top 10 team in the country when he's playing. Their defense didn't play well today, but their offense scores points. He throws the ball extremely well. Their RPO passing game is unbelievable. I'm a fan.
So we are dozing. Stop sleeping on Texas, because they're about to be making their way up those rankings, especially when you got Quinn Ewers. He's the 3rd Texas QB to throw 3 passing touchdowns in back-to-back conference games. So he's doing his thing. Now moving on to your favorite team, Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
Are we dozing on Auburn, or do we need to get to bulldozing the stadium, because they just lost to Ole Miss, the 9th-ranked team in the country today?
I got to wait till I'm on camera for this, because, everybody thinks I can't stand Auburn, and I'm Sight, get it out of here. Turn it into a parking lot. We're ending the program, okay? Tearing down the stadium. It's over with. It's over with.
And all the rumors about firing Brian Harsin, they're still fighting. He's
it's
still
only
got
a matter
job.
of time.
We're bulldozing, all right? Turn it into a parking lot. Not even a great game from Jackson Dart. Just 130 yards passing, but 3 touchdowns throwing, and he had a great game on the ground as well. Okay, on to our next team, Notre Dame. If you watch the show, you've heard AJ's opinion. You can't be giving it to them early.
Already got it up.
All right, Notre Dame, are we dozing or bulldozing?
Bulldozing. Turn it into a parking lot. I don't care who they've beat the past couple weeks. They're awful.
All right, now we're just going to jump to our next one. Oregon, are we dozing or are we bulldozing on Oregon? They got a big game coming up this week. College Game Day will be there. That just came out. Are we dozing or bulldozing? I'm going to say...
Oh, what?
Hey, with the way that they came out to start the season, maybe I'm still caught up on that Georgia game and how ugly they looked. And anytime you have my boy on a road game, he's not going to play well. We need to get Bo Nix on a home contract of playing every game at home.
Well, I'm with you, but listen, College Game Day is going there.
Yeah.
So I'm all for Bo Nix, who was the smartest man alive by leaving the University of Auburn this year.
Get away from the SEC.
Yes. Get away from that school. Let's go to Oregon. Let's win some games. We're playing at home. I'm high on the Oregon Ducks.
Hey, Oregon has won 5 straight since its season opening loss to Georgia, so maybe I'm dozing. I don't know. But all right, we're going to Utah. Are we dozing or bulldozing Utah? We saw how they started the season with a top 10 ranking, got upset by Florida, and then now they lose again to UCLA. And then this week they got USC, and it's last time I checked, they were losing that game.
We're bulldozing.
Turn it into a parking lot. All right.
I love it.
That's all the time that we have on the wrap-up. Thank you for watching. Shout out to the incredible people behind the scenes for helping put this show together. This has been the wrap-up presented by ALLSTATE. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
These things don't fly very well.